Hi, welcome to Suplex the Sticks, a gaming podcast hosted by David and Seth
Hello.
and Forrest.
Howdy.
I have a cracked tooth right now, and so it's stopping me from doing some normal inflections that I would be doing because it slices my tongue if I talk exuberantly.
Do it.
So a lot
Do
of
it for the pod.
Bleed
For
all
the
over
people.
us.
a lot of my talking is monotone
Very
because I cannot
controlled.
move my tongue a lot. But it's getting fixed this week, so that's good. We would have
That's why we're
recorded.
recording early.
We would have.
ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have recorded me with numb mouth, and it would probably have been a similar effect, but I would have been sore and yeah.
You would have been soaring at Epcot?
No, I wish.
Would have been soaring, flying.
I'm in blackout dates now. Can't go.
Ah.
Can't go.
So sad.
It is very sad. We went to Animal Kingdom the other day, though, and it was fun. Oh, what was I gonna say? We're gonna record an episode
Mondays,
Thursday.
huh?
Yeah, we're gonna record. Listen, Forrest showed up 45 minutes late today, and we were gonna
This is
go at
true.
9.
And then we
and
watched
then I had
you
to
play.
do one more puzzle,
watched you play Indiana Jones for half an hour.
which is frequently what happens in that game, where I am playing and then another puzzle happens, and I
I gotta do one
have
more.
to do one more puzzle. We were going to do a Game Awards episode, but that was the first day of Cracked Tooth. That was ground zero. And I had not mastered the art of holding my tongue in a specific spot while talking. And so that was a pain. But so I just wasn't ready to record anything that night. And if we had recorded anything, it would have been me very quiet.
Yeah.
But yeah, Game Awards was a 15 out of 10.
But you know, you weren't very quiet during
Experience.
the Game Awards.
Yeah, but that's because it
Listen, the
sucked.
hype, the adrenaline.
You- You did not feel my tongue
That's true.
by the end of that. It hurt so bad. But I was dealing with it because of how excited I was. There's nothing in this world.
You got a good tongue lashing.
There's nothing in this world that I would have expected. If you had told me that I was going to get Okami 2 and a new Onimusha announced in the same show,
I tell you were crazy.
I would tell you were crazy. And two,
There were lots of other cool announcements, too.
yeah, but nothing that cool for me.
Same.
That was pretty much peak. Like it was so tailored for me that
It was Taylor's version.
I couldn't I couldn't believe it.
It still feels a little bit unreal.
Yeah,
Engine.
they're making Onimusha. It's probably in development already because it's coming out in 2026. They said they're like just now starting development for Okami 2, so that's probably gonna be like 2027,
Yeah.
2028, which is fine. I know it's coming. Take your time, do what you got to do. I restarted Okami, and those were the biggest things for me. That and forever that mech game that looks super cool but still isn't out.
Mecha break.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Capcom has also said that they are focusing on reactivating other dormant IPs,
Listen,
and they got a lot of them
they
that are
have
dormant.
a lot. Recore. This was Recore Capcom.
I don't think so.
No, that was
I
the
think it-
Seiji
It just
Inafune
had-
game,
yeah,
right?
it just
Oh,
had-
so it was
yeah.
made by him.
Yeah.
Who was he was a Capcom guy.
I think that was
It was Armature and Concept.
We got
Published
a
by
new
Microsoft Studios.
Yeah.
we got a new Onimusha and Okami announcement before a new Mega Man announcement,
Yeah,
That is true.
which is kind of crazy.
When are we getting Mega Man ZX3?
Yeah, but
Capcom, that's a long
We've had
dormant
Mega
We
Man
have
franchise.
it,
games
yes.
since Onimusha and Okami came out,
Yeah,
That is
but
true.
and it depends on what you mean by like new announcements because there have been all of the collections that they've re-released.
Yeah.
Sure.
I will say I am glad that these are new entries
Yeah.
in those games. Because
Yeah.
I mean, like they already have modern ports, at least of Okami and the first Onimusha. Like, I would have been very happy for the rest of the Onimushas getting ported, but
I need
a whole new
yeah,
game.
I really would like the other Onimushas to get ported. I know that Onimusha sold like to 5 people, and I was one of the 5
I was
people.
one of the other 5 people.
But I wish they would port the other ones, just so I could play as Jean Renault
Yes.
in Onimusha 3, which is so unhinged and weird,
Yeah.
and his weird glove whip. But yeah, there was also that Zoids game. This I call it Zoids.
It wasn't a Zoids game, but it was.
But it looked like it.
It was a Zoids like.
I mean, there were robot animals in it, but they were alongside robot people.
Yeah, that's Zoids.
No,
But
there's
they
no
were-
robot people in Zoids. There's a robot gorilla.
not yet. You could.
It could evolve
It could have happened.
over millennia into a robot person.
I don't think so. They don't evolve unless they combine with an organoid.
I'm trying to think of anything else. I mean, I'm just really glad that Naughty Dog isn't making a Last of Us again.
I'm
That's-
also glad it's not an Uncharted.
They were. I don't think they're going to go back to Uncharted.
I don't
'cause
think so, but I just
Yeah,
that
the
is
whole
what that
last
studio has
game-
done for the last 15 years.
The
pretty
whole
much.
last game was about how old he was and
Yeah.
he couldn't do it anymore,
Yeah.
even though he was very much so doing it. Same as Indiana Jones. At least movie wise.
Yeah.
But their new IP looks cool. It's called Intergalactic Hope's Fury, Asura's Wrath. I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name of the subtitle
Yeah.
of it.
Quick aside: if Capcom announced another Azura's Wrath,
No,
It is a dormant IP.
It is a dormant IP. I would have screamed for 5 minutes straight. I would have lost
They
my
should
voice
put him in
because
Street
of it.
Fighter 6.
God,
oh, the
I
Heretic Prophet. That's what it was
yes.
called. Weird
I wonder
looking
who the heretic
game.
prophet is.
Kumail Nanjiani.
It's gonna be Anorak from Ready Player One. That's why there's all the '80s stuff. It's secretly a Ready Player One game in the Ready Player One universe.
Yeah. Sure.
Listen, with all the product placement in there,
It certainly could
it's-
be.
I don't think I am far off. Possibly, IP will get you everywhere
And nowhere.
and nowhere. A Porsche spaceship with
Yeah, but that's just products. It's not.
yeah,
That's not an IP spaceship.
that's true.
Yeah.
Until the
Could be
next
until-
cutscene
when it's an
where
X-wing.
it's Knight Rider or Kit.
Do we think?
Or-
Do we think this game, given its title Intergalactic, is going to have Kid Cudi's Intergalactic
Planetary
song in it?
Intergalactic. No, it's gonna
Or
have the
the
Beastie
Beastie
Boys.
Boys,
Intergalactic.
What for? That's from the time frame they're evoking.
Sure.
So it is in the future.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they're definitely evoking like '80s vibes. With
Retro future for sure.
Yeah.
Retro future.
Good old retro futurism.
Maybe a little
What's
too
that
on the
game?
nose with some of the product placement, but it's fine. I like it. Whatever.
I'm curious to see how on the nose it'll be in the game itself and not just this promotional stuff.
I'm wondering how far away this game is from coming out. Because Jeff said
Probably closer than Elder Scrolls 6.
Jeff said they've been working on it since 2020. Now, here's the thing: we also know they were working on that multiplayer game that died.
Well, yeah. They probably got gutted so this could get developed a little faster.
No, it got gutted because Bungie was jealous.
Yes.
That's good.
But I think, like,
Or that's the theory on the internet is that Bungie didn't like what it was seeing and was like, "Hey, that's not good." Was there anything else at the Game Awards that really blew you guys away besides What was the name of that game, Seth? The Ninja
Gaiden
Ninja Gaiden
Rage
Rage Bound.
Bound.
Rage Bound.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
from the developers of Blasphemous.
Yeah, it looks neat. Looks
Yeah,
neat.
that was going to be my thing. I think that looks super cool, and I'll always give a side-scrolling ninja game a shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, it wasn't new, but there was a new Slay the Spire trailer, which got me hyped up.
That wasn't the first time that was shown?
No.
Oh, okay.
I
I can't remember. I kind of blacked
Yeah, the
out.
last one, there was just like a very brief trailer. I forget when the last one was, but it was just sort of like a splash trailer of
Gotcha.
like cutscene and then the title. But unfortunately, that's probably ways off until I can play it on console or phone, ideally. Yeah, I think you know.
I think that they'll have that pretty geared up for phone fast with how popular it got.
I mean, maybe, but I think it's going to. Like, they're not working on putting it on any other platforms at the
Right.
moment. So it'll have to be after the actual full release, and it hasn't even started in early access yet. So, you know, who knows now? But I'm excited for it. I think we all got really excited over the Turok reveal.
Yeah.
The
yeah,
Turok
that was pretty
game.
cool.
It seems to, they say it's a prequel, but it seems to be very futuristic technology. Though it's been a long time since I played Turok. There is some wacky technology in those games.
Yeah.
Like the drills that bore into the
Yeah,
brain.
the cerebral bore.
Yeah.
It's an iconic game weapon.
Game weapon.
Um,
There was the announcement of Clive from
Clive.
Final Fantasy 16 for Tekken 8,
yeah, that's funny.
which was 10 out of 10.
It was a good trailer. With him fighting. Was it Kazuya? His one wing comes out, and then Clive has one wing come out, and
Super cool.
it's a good trailer.
You know who else has one wing that would have been cooler than Clive?
That guy from Bait and Kaitos.
You're right.
Cloud's Kingdom Hearts 1 attire.
Yep, Cloud and or Sephiroth. But
Yeah.
it's fine. I hate that Clive is getting the one wing treatment, and I don't think he deserves it.
Did he not have it in the game?
No, he had two. He didn't have wings. Ifrit doesn't have wings.
That's true.
But wasn't he using the Phoenix powers to get those wings?
Yeah, that's Joshua.
And I'm pretty sure that Kazuya has two wings anyway.
Yes, he has a devil.
That's fine because I know that Kazuya. I know the Tekken one. Like
Yeah.
he's got wings. I'm
Did I
just
ever tell
saying,
you
Clive.
guys about the time that I watched the entire ending of the Tekken story on YouTube for some reason? It came
it's
up
crazy.
It came up in my recommended or something, and I
You
just
said,
sat and
screw
I
it."
watched it. All the cutscenes and the fights. It's insanity.
Yes.
Yeah, none of it makes sense. I mean, it does, but it's all insane.
Kazuya turns into an angel.
Yeah, I know.
It's wild stuff.
But yeah, I'm saying that Clive is misappropriating Final Fantasy VII culture. And that-
Yeah, we can say that about him, and he is like a normie white guy, so it's probably something he would
he
do.
is the most straight, boring white guy possible. If you play
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16, he is
Even more than Noctis.
missionary Mormon, boring.
At least
white
Noctis
dude.
hangs around with a bunch of dudes all the time.
Yeah, they're all weird.
And
though.
that all like
Clive
really
hangs
care
out with
for
the
each
girl
other.
and negs her the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Which is classic
alpha
straight-
dad behavior.
Right, it's classic straight white guy behavior. Like
That's true.
the coolest he gets is taking on his dead friend's name.
Yeah.
And even then, he's just doing the same thing that
Yes,
he's
he was
doing with the
before.
wing. he's taking someone else that's cooler and taking their vibe because he doesn't have a vibe.
Why couldn't we get
God, I
Sid
wish
as the
I
playable
I
character?
really wish I liked Clive
Because
as
he
much
wasn't
as
the
other
playable
people did.
character.
Yeah, he should have been.
Yeah.
He was way cooler.
And he was voiced by Ralph Ineson, so really, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I did watch the Vavitch movie, and I was like, I know this voice.
Yes, sir.
And I
Go rewatch The Green Knight now, and you'll recognize the voice again.
He's
Yeah,
not.
he's the Green Knight, isn't he?
He
Yes.
doesn't talk much in that one.
And he's
It's
also the
brief.
other guy.
But yeah, so Game Awards happened. The Astrobot won Game of the Year. I think that's interesting. I since the last time we talked, I've played and
Steel
beaten.
Hunters is
Yes,
that
that's
robot
what it's
game.
I've played and beaten Astrobot. I think it is a fantastic little platformer. It's the closest to Nintendo that Sony's ever gotten. The music is bad, except for like out of like 2 or 3 tracks that they then overuse because they know they're good.
Like the Astrobot song.
Yeah, that's one for sure. But it really is a fantastic game with really unique powers. Some of them overstay their welcome because they reuse them a little too often. But that's fine. You can kind of forgive it because you don't ever use them for too long. And they're not as prevalent as, say, like the cat power in Mario 3D Land. Which I think the cat power is fun, but that's
Yeah, but to base a whole game around it,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. So it really Astrobot is just such a wonderful, fun game, and my only issue is and this sounds like gatekeepy maybe, and
I'll
I
let you
don't
know.
know, but
Split gatekeepy.
it almost feels like people are giving it so much credit because other people haven't been able to crack platforming the way Nintendo does. And so, like, people are almost over giving this game credit because of how much people haven't been able to figure it out. And I love it. I thought it was great. I'm not mad I spent money on it. I think the level design is super good. I'm singing its praises. I do think that people are acting like it is a second coming, and I'm like, have you played Mario Odyssey, which is maybe still a perfect platformer to me? Like,
Yeah, but that came out years ago.
but it still feels good. Like
I think there's probably some merit to what you're saying, and I think that it also came at a good time in like
well, it did come at a time when Sony had no games.
right. And I
Sony
think-
has had no games this
and
year.
I think that is also in its favor, and I think the fact that it is like unabashedly a celebration of video games that
Yeah.
also
That
plays
is-
And it's
to-
just simple. Like it is what you are being presented. You know, there's
So-
But I think that
it's very straightforward.
that it's more of a reflection of the incredibly high bar Nintendo sets with their 3D platforming games.
Correct.
That a close imitation is able to garner so much praise. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's
I would argue it's a little better than a close imitation because there are some unique things in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like they are doing a lot of cool stuff with the controller. That's not gameplay though, and I want people keep talking about it like it is a gameplay feature, and I'm like, it's just cool vibration. Like it,
yeah, but cool vibrations do a lot to enhance
sure.
experience.
Yeah, I get it.
Like I'll never forget playing freaking Returnal, and you walk out into the rain and you start to feel the individual raindrops on the controller.
Yeah, but that doesn't make that game fun to play though. That's the
No, but it does make it cooler to experience, and I
Yeah,
think that is
sure.
something to consider in a lot of games these days. Like, it is sometimes some games are more than just the gameplay. What is the overall immersive experience? You know?
Yeah, I think that can become people hand waving shortcomings, though, when you're like, a whole experience thing. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get it. So yeah, I love Astrobot. I don't think it was better than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I can't really remember what else was up for Game of the Year.
Black Myth Wukong.
Nope,
Yep.
I didn't play that.
The Shadow of the Erd Tree.
I think it was better than that.
I don't think it got any awards, which
No.
I was fine with.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it. You know what won? What was the game that won Best Game Direction? And I think Erdtree won Game Direction.
Metaphor was the other game that was
yeah. Up for good.
nominated.
I haven't played Metaphor yet. I purchased it. But
Isn't it on Game Pass? Oh, but you
No,
played on
we-
PlayStation
no,
because
we've
it has to do with the game
but it's
feel.
not on Game Pass.
Yes.
We've done this 800
We had
times.
this conversation.
Well, we're gonna have
Microsoft
it
really
again.
made it seem like
Like
it
it
was
was
on
going
Game
to be.
Pass because of how much they promoted it.
Yeah,
Right.
And
But-
because of all the other Atlas games
that are on
there.
Game Pass.
Right.
Exactly. See,
It,
you can't.
it probably
you can't blame
will
me.
eventually come to Game Pass.
Oh, Astrobot got Game Direction. And
More like Game Direction.
you go from point A to point B in that game. That's
Those are directions.
That's the direction.
right.
Forward. Up.
I kind of
Down.
would have liked to have seen Balatro or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I wish I had played Metaphor to go to bat for it.
Balatro was also.
But yeah,
I actually don't think of the there. I don't know that there were a ton of great nominees for Game Direction.
well, it was the exact same list of Game of the Year.
Yeah.
so-
I think in Game Direction you're looking for something sort of like that separates it from the crowd.
Yeah.
right.
Or it's so good at all the stuff that it sets out
Yeah.
to do. That like.
But again, it's also like the most nebulous category because it's one of those that is
It's not quantifiable.
right, and it sort of brings over one of the issues with Hollywood, the sort of auteur director syndrome that makes that like hoists all the praise of every good decision
On a single
in a movie,
individual.
yeah, like as if it was one person.
Yeah, and not hundreds of people.
And there are a few in the industry that maybe that is applicable to the idea of it rather than the actual reality of it. But there are some directors to which people imagine they like fully control the thing top to bottom. And in that sense, maybe Balatro was the one that should have got it, since it was
One
it
person.
was one person that
Yeah.
was in charge of it top to bottom.
There are two awards I would like to do away with. They're not even the esports ones.
Best
I
most
would-
anticipated.
I
No,
would
I
get
think-
rid of
Most
the
anticipated
esports
is a fun award.
one. Yeah.
That one's fun. And
I think
I
it
just
would
need
be
them to
more
stop putting
fun
GTA
if they
6.
made people come up and give speeches about games that aren't out yet.
yes,
That would be incredible.
that would be
Yeah.
incredible. Or just a random person from the crowd that did vote for it. Give them 2 minutes of airtime, and have a big hook ready to take them off, visible.
Yeah.
So I think the best ongoing game should probably not be an award anymore, because everything that's nominated for it mostly is games.
It's the
that
same
have been-
games every year.
Yeah.
right?
For one.
So it's a miracle that Helldivers 2 won when there was 4 games. Well, no, it's not a miracle, because the other 4 games have been nominated almost every year in some way, shape,
Right.
or form. The
And
only
that's why I
one that-
think Helldivers won, because it was a new experience that brought new things. And that's probably going back to the stupid decision when they gave it to Cyberpunk that also probably played in its favor, and that it was a new
let's face it,
game in the
if
category.
Cyberpunk was as loved if CD Projekt Red really liked Jeff as much as, or Jeff liked them as much as he liked FromSoft, they would have been nominated
Phantom
for
Liberty.
Game of the Year.
Yeah,
That's like
Maybe.
that is the
that's
difference
the writing on
here.
the wall.
And it's kind of crappy, and it shows. It's fine that you're holding things to different standards, but don't be a baby when you do get called out on it, which he tends to do. The other one is best community support. I don't fully. I don't. I've gotten past whatever beef you can say I have with Baldur's Gate 3. I do not understand how or what community support for that is. I mean, I guess they patch the game fairly frequently,
Well, I
but
think
like,
that
do they just make good Facebook posts? Like what?
no, I think it's
Especially-
because the reason we don't understand any of these nominations is because we're not involved in any of those online communities.
Yeah,
Sure, but like, I'll tell you
But
that
it does make it a weird category in that it is
I was in the Helldivers
sort of
Discord.
entirely insular.
I was in the Helldivers Discord for 2 months. I had to leave it because I couldn't do it anymore. But it was insane the amount of community. Like, they were talking to people, blah, blah, blah.
And so
A lot of
Baldur's Gate
people-
1, it must be even better than that.
A lot of people really LARPing in there as fascism. As there's really into it. It's fun, I guess, to be that way.
Just like in real life.
Yeah, well, it is fun when I feel like it's fun when it's like a group of 4 of your friends fighting bugs and you're saying it to each other.
yeah.
It's when it's a group of like a couple hundred in a
And
Discord
they're
where
storming the Capitol.
where you start to like take a step back and be like, maybe this isn't good. Maybe this is kind of bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Those are the two that I've maybe like soured on as a whole. Like, I just get rid of them,
I mean, I
or-
think there are a lot of bad categories
or bring back like best shooter
because
Yeah.
or
they're the ones that they just give out like in the middle of 2 commercials. It's just like, what are the point of these? Like, why even announce these on the air?
that is. And Jeff is having a hard. You could tell that he's having a hard time balancing that stuff.
Yeah.
But also, we spent, and I'm not complaining about this because I love the Muppets, but we spent 10 minutes with Statler and Waldorf easy.
God bless.
And
And it was funny the first time. It was
yeah,
diminishing
same-
returns.
Yeah. It was diminishing returns, but the first time was real good.
Yeah.
And, oh, man. I love Marley and Marley. That's a great song. So
Yeah.
go watch
Yeah.
Muppets Christmas Carol. But
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people. One thing they haven't cracked is that one of the I think a lot of people tune into awards shows to hear from the people who are getting the awards, and you really only do that in like 4 categories, maybe
yeah.
in the show.
it's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say time and time again that it's a show about celebrating the games industry and like all the stuff that happened.
But
that
it's
year,
not really
then-
celebrating the actual people making them.
Yeah,
a lot.
and
It
also,
sort of is, but
part of that also has to do with the commercialization of it and how it, like, yeah, sure, there are awards, but everyone's really there for the announcements and reveals.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they could do both. It would just have to be a longer show
Yeah. Which I wouldn't be opposed to, but also I'm not a
with
stockholder.
with fewer gags.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I think part of it that the issue is that the like the criteria for the categories are sometimes so amorphous that you're putting stuff up against each other that
Doesn't-
are only loosely really on the. It's a lot of comparing apples to oranges in some of these categories, and
Yeah.
so that's another thing that's like it's not really fully the type of award show that something like the Oscars is, where there are like everything is very specific when you were talking about a certain category. What a thing is. There's no like Imagine if the Oscars had a category like best thing you watched. And it's like, well, this could be anything.
Yeah.
They kind of did that. They did.
Yeah, last year they did have like
They did. People joked that it was
popularity
the Marvel movie award
Yeah.
because people kept getting mad they weren't winning awards, and
Yep.
Who would have thought the corporately rushed out movies wouldn't be getting any awards?
But yeah, I think it would be.
Whoa.
I think it would be cooler to hear more from the people who are winning the awards and talking about it. But
well, they didn't do the wrap it up this year. There was no
yeah,
Yeah.
there
But
was-
They didn't
the
push
speeches were
anyone
not
else.
very long.
Yeah.
no.
I'm sure that they had a time limit that they would have started playing people off, but
Yeah.
no one really.
Push the limit.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that's usually you get that from the best performance people, or I don't know, or people who have are brand new to the whole industry.
Yeah.
Or being in the awards, and I think that Melina Juergens won her best performance, and she had done it before, so I think she was prepared
Yeah.
to be able to give the speech she wanted and get out all the thanks that she wanted to get, and the Astrobot people, I feel like they got most of their stuff out when they went up for best game direction, and then
They had Sony snipers on them for their game.
yeah, that was funny. They basically all but said, we modeled this game after Nintendo games.
Yeah. And then they were like, it's after a company we don't want to say, but like, bye.
That's a Marvel calling DC the distinguished competition type bit right there.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's cool. I mean, it is very Mario-esque. It's very Mario-esque in that game.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
how
wonder
it
if it will
wins.
ever come to Switch.
I don't know how it wins best family game.
That's another one of
as
those
a
categories. That's
non-multiplayer
just
Can't play
like,
it with a family, yeah.
this nothing in this category makes sense.
Yeah.
It used to just be I think it's there because it's the Nintendo category.
I was about to
and
say-
they made a Nintendo game,
What
so
it-
it has to go in that
What they
category.
need to do is just change the name of the category. God, my mouth.
Yeah.
Best family friendly game.
Yeah. That's fair.
And like just that small change would,
It would make
Clear
a lot
all.
more sense.
Yeah.
but instead
Because
you-
family game does imply that it's a game you can play with your family.
yeah, implies.
And I think there were multiple. There was at least one other game in that category that was a single player game.
almost all of them were. Zelda was in there.
Yeah.
They-
I know Mario Party was there.
Mario Party was the only multiplayer one.
Really?
I'm 99% sure.
Yeah.
But then again, with Twitch, you can experience any game with a family.
I guess so.
Sure.
Does
That's
Twitch
the
plays
best way.
Pokemon count as a family game?
It depends on if you're reading the chat.
You shouldn't read chat with your family. Is Plucky Squire multiplayer?
No.
No,
Well, is Princess Peach Showtime multiplayer?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So that's 4 out of 5 that are single player.
That's crazy. Those are not family games.
What can
They
you
are
do?
family-friendly games. Though.
Yes.
The other
Hence
one
the
that I
needed distinction.
The other one that I was very surprised by, and a lot of people don't like this game, is EA Sports FC 25 winning best sports game.
Yeah.
When
Our hosts went crazy when that happened because they thought it was terrible.
well, I have also seen because I'll jab at Chris a little bit, but like I've been like, man, the community really doesn't like this game, and he's like, yeah, it's because it's bad, and it's so weird how that works and how the college football game wasn't even nominated for it. It's just a weird situation.
Yep. I don't know, but that comes down to all the nerds who do the voting. Those
Yeah.
nerds, they don't play sports game like Chad's,
We also
like Clive, the real Chad.
Yeah.
got to watch the creator of the PlayStation think Jeff was calling him on stage, and then Jeff kind of shunning him away from coming on stage, which was fun.
I don't remember that happening.
It was right at the
I also
beginning.
did not.
He said the creator of the PlayStation is in the crowd with us today, and it panned to an old Japanese man. I don't know his name, which I don't care. I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he just put together a console. But he like stood up and went to get on stage, and Jeff,
I don't know
like
that-
you could see him like doing
Huh.
that because he thought he was like calling him up,
Weird.
and he wasn't. But yeah, there is some controversy out there right now with it seems like a vague mistranslation of the Black Myth Wukong developer making comments. But some people were around them whenever they lost Game of the Year and said that they seemed pretty vehemently upset that they didn't win Game of the Year. And then one of the developers said in a post that they kind of just don't understand what the qualifications are for Game of the Year, which
You and
me
both,
either.
buddy.
Yeah,
None of us know.
I wish you didn't travel to America for this. I would have told you to
But
stay
they did
at home.
get an
Yeah.
award and they got a chance
Yeah.
to deliver a speech.
Yeah, they won an award, and they said they were very grateful for that, and they said they thought the other games were good. I do think that when you start asking what the qualifications are, you are saying your game is good, but it does not meet qualifications, I would think, wins Game of the Year. But supposedly,
Yeah,
That's
who
weird.
knows?
Who knows? But that's weird. I don't think that Black Myth Wukong should have probably been nominated, but it's fine. A lot of people said that game was. A lot of people I trust with Souls-like opinions have said that game was mid. Chris is maybe the only one.
But I
That
don't think
really
it's a
liked it.
Souls-like.
It is. It's a boss rush Souls-like, which is.
Bit different.
It's a bit different, but it is. But I played Astrobot. I talked about it at length already, and I've been playing what may end up being my game of the year. Not sure.
It does look like a lot of fun.
Nah,
I'll
it's
give
not.
it to
It's
you.
not. It's not. What's the word? It's not. It doesn't qualify
Eligible.
for this year's. Yeah, it's not.
It
eligible
does.
for
It does because
Game of the
ours
Year.
is better than Jeff's. And then it,
Real.
but Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I'm almost done with the first big map. There's apparently 3 big maps. So I'm almost done with the Vatican, which is your first big map.
Are you excited to blow it up when you leave?
Do I blow up the Vatican?
I mean, it blew up in real life.
Yeah, dude. They're rebuilding it right now.
Didn't you
What?
see that movie Conclave where it blew up at the end?
No, I'm so lost on what y'all are doing right now. I have-
we're just speaking the truth.
Yeah, dude. This is what the
Uh,
Vatican
like-
doesn't want you to
like
hear.
Joe Rogan.
I didn't know that the Vatican blew up. I don't think that happens
Blew up on
here.
TikTok.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean,
Actually,
Catholicism is big on TikTok.
Notre Dame blew. Well, it didn't blow up,
No, it
but
caught on
burned
fire.
down. Yeah,
but
yeah.
it actually
that just got reopened.
the Vatican did kind of blow up when they unveiled their anime.
Yeah, the anime saint
Yes, I forgot.
and the gamer
I
saint.
forgot about that.
The gamer saint
oh
too.
my god.
But yeah,
I wonder if that thing's in this game.
Indiana Jones, you fight, you punch, you duck,
You whip.
you whip, you puzzle.
You bash sleeping guards in the head with a
Oh yeah.
with a
Murder
pole.
people who are
You-
murder unsuspecting.
There are
Fascists.
so many unique things in this world you can hit fascists with. I've hit them with violins.
And that is applicable to real life as well.
I've hit them
Bell.
with violins. I've hit them with bells. I've
Oh,
hit them
violins.
with guitars. I've hit them
a
with.
lot of musical instruments.
Yeah.
I've hit them with the metal things that hold like velvet ropes to keep crowds in specific places.
Stanchions.
Yeah, that's a word.
Let me know if you get a trombone and can
Vatican
hit him with a
artifacts.
slide.
That would be cool. What?
Some kind of mace that was in the Vatican
Yeah,
the
archives.
artifacts.
It's like that's like a big candlestick thing, I think. I definitely also will pick up hammers, and when
Say
they're
it's
running
hammer
at
time.
me, I'll throw the hammer at them and then go into my fisticuffs combo. I've definitely thrown people off of ledges. It's great. 12 out of 10 video game. Who knew that Troy Baker could be talented? Who's
I don't know.
he's good
Well, I
at
could
he's
tell
good
you
at
one
being-
person that knew it.
Well, he definitely thinks he is. But he's a great Harrison Ford. He sounds almost exactly like him.
He's not Harrison Ford. He's Indiana Jones.
Yeah. He's definitely, they are the same. They're the same.
Don't say that to Harrison Ford.
Yeah, it's true.
He'll hit you with a whip.
He won't whip you with it. He'll just hit you with it.
Yeah.
I don't know which is worse. But it was funny at the Game Awards. He said that if he knew that Troy Baker was going to do as good of a job as he did, then he would have just done it himself, which was funny.
Like Thanos. I'll do it myself.
Right. Yeah,
5
there's-
movies later.
Yeah, 5. I think there was more than that,
Yeah.
but
5 Avengers movies later.
right. But it what a game. It's genuinely very, very fun and very interesting and
Very what else?
provides you a lot of opportunity to explore a world in different avenues and have multiple solutions to combat and exploration, to where you definitely feel like you are playing the game your own way instead of having a specific laid out route in front of you.
Nice.
In fact, so much so that like at the very beginning of the game, it sort of broke me because I was like, okay, I need to find all the stuff in this space. And really, you don't in a lot of the areas. What you need to accept is that you took one of like 10 paths the game set beside for you. Because I ended up spending a ton of time just running around, parkouring and climbing, realizing, oh, this is just different ways I could have attacked this situation. And
Interesting thing about it, when you go to the actual Vatican, there's people doing that all over.
I'm sure that there
Just climbing up scaffolding and
Catholicism
running on rooftops.
is pretty synonymous with parkour.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great game so far. I'm very excited to keep going. I've heard it just gets better. Like there's a lot more action, a lot more like the story
Circles.
beats. Not many circles right now. Mostly crosses, mostly giants.
sure.
These Nephilim, these giants that live under the Vatican, I think.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's
I wonder if they got that idea from Game of Thrones with the dragons and the dragon skeleton in the basement.
maybe. But yeah,
The
it's
giant skeleton under the Vatican.
the vague spoilers for the game. The opening tutorial of the game is the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is super awesome. You do the whole
The
there's-
bag thing.
Yeah, you do the bag thing. You do
Run away from the boulder.
rub the whip to get the spiders off of Alfred Molina's guy, and yeah, it's amazing. Great game.
Shoot that guy who has a sword.
No, that's not. You're conflating movies. Keep going. You could just talk about Shia LaBeouf.
Swing with
which is
the
in
monkeys.
That's maybe like 30 years in the future from this game. 20 years in the future, maybe. But yeah.
Those monkeys.
Get chased through a parade.
That was the latest one.
Yep.
I like that movie.
Yeah, same.
Find the secret entrance behind Mount Rushmore.
There was a fun note that like only weirdo theme park, or not weirdo, but like it references the Disneyland California Indiana Jones ride.
Nice.
Which pops me. It's like, oh, there's a statue. Don't look in her eyes, and that's like a big part of the Disneyland ride.
Nice.
Which I was like, ooh, that's fun that they put that in there. But go ahead, Seth. I don't know what you've been playing. I know you've been playing Metaphor, but I don't know
I have been playing
if you've liked it or
Metaphor
hated it or.
Refantasio. It's a lot of fun. It's a goofy game. It's also a serious game. It's very different from Persona, but at times also very similar.
Ah,
In good ways or
In good ways.
Okay.
They, the whole structure is the same structure of, you work on a calendar. You generally have deadlines that you have to complete dungeons by, and
just
Up-
like real life.
up until those deadlines, you get to choose what you wish to do in the morning and in the evenings of days, whether that be spending time with your teammates or doing random stuff to improve your different attributes. So in that way, it is very much like a Persona game. I think there's a lot more voice acting than there was in 5, at least.
I've
which I
heard
think is
that
neat.
that there's like almost everything. Is
Yeah,
voice
almost
acted.
everything is voice acted. Which and honestly kind of makes it weird the stuff that isn't.
Yeah, because there's so much of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I can understand like when they're in just sort of random dungeons, that aren't really story stuff, but it is weird how you'll go from fully voiced, not even in a cutscene, just sort of in like a bit of a cinematic look at it. You're in a dungeon and it zooms out and shows you something that's going on, and you'll have voice characters, and then you zoom back in, the camera comes back behind you, and all of a sudden it's back to like the one word exclamations with the text block. It's so I wonder what the algebra they did there to decide what gets voice acting and what doesn't. But
Right.
and the voice acting is good. It took me a bit to accept some of the goofy European accents that they have applied to some characters.
I've heard that a standout is Heisme, and
Heisme does have a very good
I've heard that he's great, and I'm very excited to meet him.
yes, he has a very good accent. He's very well done. He's a very fun character. I don't know what I guess his accent is maybe like sort of Spanish. He very much evokes like Antonio Banderas.
A lot of the podcasts say he has the funnest barks, like the things he yells out.
Yeah,
are the funnest.
yes, yeah. You got Hulkenberg, who is clearly German.
That's a name. That's a name.
It's her last name, but she just goes by it. And it's funny, the first time she introduces, she says it like Hulkenberg, really going hard into that German, but then every other time afterwards you hear her say it, she just says it like sort of straight. The group dynamics are very different than they are in Persona. You're not a high school kid, sort of. It's not so much a coming of age story in the way something like that is, but the protagonist is just like 18 and is sort of thrust into this.
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna campaign to become the new king of this land. It does take a bit at the beginning to sort of get into the brunt of the Persona-y stuff. It's a lot of it. There's kind of straight story and dungeon crawling, and it gives you just little hints of the different day-to-day stuff you can do until like the big inciting incident that sort of sets you off on the path, which was a bit surprising. It's not as impressive, I think, and a first impression as Persona 5 was.
But I've heard it almost makes it easier to swallow. Like,
Yeah, I mean it
it's
ramps
got the
up.
best like onboarding.
Yeah, it does. It ramps up a bit in more like any kind of traditional RPG than the way something like that just throws you into the thick of it. But yeah, I think it's been a very fun experience so far. A lot of laughs have been had by me.
Good.
It is very funny at times. And yeah, I'm interested to see where the story is going. We talked about it when we were watching the Game Awards, how it won Best Narrative, and Chris asked me if I agreed, and I said that even though I've played many tens of hours in the game, I haven't really experienced the kind of arc of where the narrative is going to say as much. But then, of course, within the past few days, I have experienced
You've been getting
a
there.
very unexpected twist that seems pulled straight out of like the Xenoblade games. That I was
Ooh.
like, what the heck is happening? But I haven't actually gotten to like
the follow through yet.
yes, I've only seen it, I've only experienced it visually in the surroundings of the dungeon that I am in.
Gotcha.
Without the characters actually grappling
yeah.
with what is happening. But it does make me think I have an understanding of maybe what they are doing. Because there's a very interesting, I don't know if interesting is the word, but there's a very specific way that they are, the very specific story device that they use where the main character, the protagonist, carries around him this book, which is clearly based off of Thomas More's Utopia.
Okay.
In fact, the author of the book is named Moore. But as you go about the game and you meet new characters, they're like, you're always reading this book, can I read part of it? And then they will talk about part of this fictional utopia that this author has written about in this book. But very early on, the book talks about this society with glass buildings that raise high into the sky, and
Oh.
and like mechanical chariots that people ride around in, and there are illustrations that are very clearly like, okay, he's just talking about the real world. So it seems to be like, and the opening, like the scene where you get to like you give your name to the not really the narrator, but it seems like there is someone from the world of Metaphor who realizes you are watching them and asks your name. And so there is some sort of weird dialogue between the real world and this world of fiction that is happening.
So I've heard about this mainly because I listen to a lot of Giant Bomb stuff.
Yes.
You can't roll your eyes at it because you listen to a ton of Comedy Bang Bang stuff. We all have the things we like. But famous idiot Dan Reichert stopped playing the game after the game asked him the question of, do you think that fiction can affect reality?
Yeah.
Because he said that was so stupid.
It is really stupid.
But all the people on the podcast were like, Dan, you've got to like push, you've got to play the game to understand what they're saying. And Dan doesn't like metaphors because he's kind of dumb. Love him, but he refuses to acknowledge their existence. But it's the same guy that loves Metal Gear Solid, which is just all a metaphor.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
so, but yeah, that's that line. It makes sense what you're saying with the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange. They're like everything that has to do with the writer and the book and the way people interact with it. It's so strange because none of the interaction with the people reading the book they don't seem realistic, and it also seems like in this world fictional novels don't exist, which is
Okay,
weird.
that's very
Like
weird.
I don't think that is true. But
There's no lusty Argonian maid.
but there is no evidence that there is any other fictional novels outside of this one book that is some sort of banned literature. Yeah, but the game, like, and Persona had these sort of things that felt like they aimed for them to be these very deep ideas that
Yeah.
were just sort of like, yeah, okay,
we
all right, guy.
we get it. We get it.
Yeah. But that's I think that is part of the charm. 'Cause
Yeah, of
it's
course it
very
is.
like earnest about it. And hey, this is a game where the king of this land is murdered, and then his ghost comes back and is like, "I am going to create democracy,"
Yeah, that's
and it's very goofy. And also very serious and filled with a lot of pathos, and it's just I'm having a lot of fun playing it.
yeah, as you should.
There have been times that I have gone into dungeons where the enemies were like higher levels than me, and just sort of found myself like slogging through because, like, if I leave the dungeon, I have no progress done on this one quest, and then I have to spend like another 3 days of in-game time to get back to the dungeon and finish it. And so, that is part of the game, is the sort of reward of spending
course.
time. But I feel like it is mellowed out in this game versus like how it was in Persona. Like I remember Persona, it felt like it took forever to level up your like character attributes, and I remember you had to like waste time hanging out with your friends before like you could get to the next
Right.
friendship level. And I feel like they've streamlined that a lot. Like anytime you were meeting with one of your followers, one of your companions, you're going up another friendship level and unlocking the next thing. And I feel like leveling up the personality attributes is a lot easier to do, and it's baked into like rewards of a lot of quests that you take on.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't just have to do these specific actions. You can be doing something else that is furthering your character growth, and then also getting these attribute enhancements. And so a lot of that is streamlined. So like it doesn't feel as bad when you do something that wastes time, but it's still like, God, I'm here. It's
Right.
It's a pain, but I want to just get through this. I'll run my face into this one boss like 10 times if I have to, because I don't want to leave and come back and run through this same dungeon again.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the dungeons are like nothing is, because there is nothing like what they were in Persona 5 of the sort of weird altered reality. Like you're just sort of going into places that exist in this world.
Right.
So they're not as fantastic, and the music is it's hard to even compare it to any like of the Persona series, because it's going for a whole different thing.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
And that's fine, but there haven't been any real like super vibey bops that have been fun. The battle theme is neat. I don't know that it's good, but it does sort of rock every time the battle rapping monks start chanting in whatever made up language it is.
We love chanting in made-up languages.
Yeah.
I've never played Nier, but I've listened to Nier.
Yeah,
So-
it's very much in the same wavelength of the chanting. The one in Nier is much more melancholy. But yeah, it's a fun time. I appreciate the changes to the battle system that make it feel unique and separate from what I remember playing in Persona. One weird thing is they changed all the name of the elemental attacks, but they kept the same names as like the stat boosting attacks from Persona, which is it's like why do one but not the other? I don't.
Right. Well, it's like you said they changed the. What did they change? You said they changed the month, but not the day of the week.
Yeah, so the calendar has all of our months, January through December.
Right.
But all of the days have different names. There's like Metals Day, Waters Day,
Oh. Okay.
Idols Day.
Idols Day.
Yeah, so they're all just and it would make sense for a different society to come up with different names for their days.
Correct.
I have no qualms with that. It's just weird that they have the same months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even July and August
Yeah.
after Julius and Augustus season.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Though to be fair, I think I've just gotten into. I think I've only experienced like July, August, and September maybe, but I feel like that is enough to assume that the rest of the calendar is the same. But yeah, I don't know. Although it is a 5-day calendar, a 5-day week instead of a 7-day week.
Oh, we love it.
Curious.
Again, another strange thing. Also, there's a lot of very Kingdom Heartsy stuff to this game
God bless.
where characters are talking in ways that make you think what this person is saying is probably very important to the story of this world, but I don't understand what it means.
Oh yeah.
And also,
Oh yeah.
it should be said, this Utopia book, has on it a little heart with on the inside look like 2 keys, and I swear it's like the first thing you see in the opening cutscene. I'm like, what?
Kingdom Hearts 4 has been
What is happening
under
here?
our noses this whole time.
As an Atlas title.
Yeah.
It's so, and it's like, it's so incredibly close to it that it's just like this can't have just sort of slipped through the cracks, right?
Right.
This has to be some kind of intentional design pick, and I don't know why. But yeah, it's a fun game. I'm having a lot of fun playing it.
Good. Makes me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna play it eventually. You.
There is a character in it whose archetype, which is the sort of class system, seems to just be like they took the persona system and just like distilled it into one character because
Okay.
the class allows you to equip these masks that you forge by using these items that are named after the tarot cards, like in Persona, and then the mask you equip them to to the character, and then that character is able to use the abilities of another class.
Oh.
And I'm pretty sure the class's upgraded form is called Persona Master. So
I see.
it's just like, all right, I will accept this.
Yeah,
That's,
it's pretty-
it's funny.
Pretty straightforward.
And I only just got this character. I think there is.
One of the marketing points is
Maybe-
that there's a
I think
lot
there are
of class
2
combinations.
Yeah.
Like it's Final Fantasy V all over again.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to it's a good departure. I was worried because coming from Persona that has hundreds of different personas that you can collect and fuse together and customize. I was worried when reading about it how there's like I don't know 20 something different archetypes. But since anyone can use them and anyone can switch at any time, and you can mix and match abilities from across one to the other,
Yes, sounds like the Dressphere system.
it did.
The superior RPG class system.
I think it has made up for those, like my worries about, being kind of bored with the class system since
Right.
it won't like it isn't always something new like in Persona, and there isn't that monster collection feel, which I think it's probably better off, because it also allows the enemies to just be monsters rather than
Catchable.
personas that you have to fight. Though I do miss
Yeah.
interrogating them. It would be fun to interrogate the monsters at gunpoint.
I did like interrogating them.
Yep. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Heck yeah. That makes me happy.
A lot of kooky characters. A good villain that I loathe, but have come to enjoy interacting with, and I can't wait to beat him up.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
That is exactly how it should be.
Though I'm expecting in the end there's going to
gonna
be
be
some kind
likable.
of twist that it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I was doing it for the. He claims he's doing it for the greater good the whole time.
I'm
Twist.
inclined to believe
the
him.
greater good is the name of the actual antagonist.
But
God.
I
God is the
I'm in,
antagonist. That's the-
well, in this one there is a very corrupt church that is in charge of everything.
Curious.
And there's
So it
like
really
a
isn't
disclaimer.
too much
There's a
different from our
disclaimer at
world.
the beginning of one of the thing that's like any
Resemblance.
any
or
resemblance to real life people or religious whatevers are is purely
coincidental.
yeah. Even though it's like, well,
My favorite disclaimer.
very clearly. In fact, the sort of overarching mission that I am on, not doing it for the church, but the church sort of co-ops the run for president because they want their candidate to win, and so they put out they're like, we're gonna have a big a grand competition anyone can enter to become king, and we're gonna present these challenges. The second challenge is like, you need to go out into the pagan lands and steal their artifacts and bring them to the holy church at the end of the month so we can put them all in our vault and no one can ever speak of them again. It's pretty funny. Yep, fun stuff, fun times. I can recommend it for anyone who's a fan of RPGs.
For sure.
I named my protagonist Isaac.
Of course.
There's no default name, which is weird.
That
Nope.
is curious.
Yeah, because I did. When I came up, it's like, what do you want to name the character? I pressed start, and I was like, just give me the default name. There is none.
Nope.
But yeah, good times. Good times are had in this game. I think you guys would get a kick out of all
Oh, I'm gonna
the
play
weird
it.
lore that's
Yeah.
in it.
We'll get around to it someday.
Just you wait.
Tomorrow.
That's gotta beat Indiana Jones first.
Yeah.
All right, Forrest. What did you play besides Halo?
I actually haven't played Halo, I think, since we last talked. But I have been playing so much Control. What a
Nice.
great game.
Are you taking control?
Yes.
Have you gone to the ashtray maze?
That's pretty
Yes.
far in. You have.
And
oh,
I
so you're almost done.
It's pretty far
What?
in.
Like the ashtray maze is pretty much like one.
that's like
mission
the
or two.
third area.
No.
Like it's within the third department that you visit.
It's pretty far in the game,
I
though.
think that you're much farther in the game than you might think you are. The ashtray maze is like
Could be.
it's fairly close
Are
to
you
the
skipping any of the powers?
No, at least not to my knowledge.
end. Oh, well.
Like
I hope you're not.
I'm trying to look around and find everything that I can.
That's
and
good.
there's a bunch of stuff that like
Because there are powers
that are,
that
like-
you can miss.
yeah, that true. There are a bunch of doors that I don't have clearance to get into, and then some rooms that I just don't have the powers to get across yet, or through. So I am making mental notes of all that, and will go back when I feel like I.
Did you
probably
find the
have the right
secret
stuff.
Alan Wake typewriter in the Panopticon?
Not yet.
It's there.
I don't know if I've gotten to the Panopticon.
Well,
It doesn't sound familiar to me.
recognize it.
Yeah. But my one thing of note, I do love all the documents and stuff littered around. I love the videotapes. They're probably my favorite part about the game, aside from all just the conceptually terrifying stuff. I want to know how the Federal Bureau of Control actually operates, because it is filled with so many people that just seem to not be able to be capable of working together well.
Yeah, it's called working in the government.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
they're-
crazy.
Especially in a building that is constantly shifting.
Yeah, like it seems so disorganized, and it just seems like it all kind of falls onto the director to keep it as held together as possible, when maybe they could just hire better people
It's hard to hire better people, though, when you can only hire people
who can find the place.
Right.
Yeah.
There is an energy,
Pretty much have to take in any applicants.
and I know.
I wonder if, like, other governmental departments can request transfers to the Bureau of Control.
Ooh.
Like, if they know about it, I'm sure they could.
Yeah.
But who
I know
knows
that
about
this is like an aside, but there's an energy to like the first 3 Harry Potter books where it feels like the school is kind of antagonistic to the students.
Yeah.
Where like they always are like, yeah, I was stuck on this landing for 15 minutes because the stairway was.
Yeah.
And like they lose that after like book 2 or 3.
Sure.
She stops engaging with that concept. But it feels like Sam Lake was like read like a couple and was like,
It's like,
I think we could do a whole video game.
yeah,
with
like
this.
that rocks.
And then not only that, these people, it is their job to have to interact with this building that almost doesn't want them
That there's
to
entire-
exist inside of
yeah,
it.
there are
And-
entire sections of the departments that are just dedicated to exploring the building.
Yeah. And like
Honestly, I wish there were more of it in the game that felt like it was, like, emergent.
Yeah.
right. Yes. And so like that was always a vibe I got with Control.
That's
was
why I like the ashtray
this-
maze.
Like it's like this building is messing with me
Yeah.
in a weird like I'm going upstairs but the stairs keep going and like
It would be fun if there were, like an office management sim taking
Yeah.
place.
right.
In
that
the
would be
FBC.
very funny.
Oh my god.
Like, you
That would be great.
you load it up,
actually. I
like,
would
you
play
save
that.
and quit, and you load it up the next day, and the layout
whole
of the
layout
building
has
is
changed.
different, and there are new people working that you didn't
Right.
hire.
It's some of your
And
other
I know that
department
me
heads that you
mentioning
were
Harry
managing
Potter,
got lost.
you were probably worried I wasn't going to make it connect, but I had it in my head.
Yeah.
Like there was an energy with those first 3 where it's like she brought it up a lot and then stopped
Yeah.
completely bringing it up. And
I am curious how the setting of the oldest house is going to be for the FBC Firebreak game.
yeah, it's going to be freaking awesome.
It is going to be freaking awesome. But I really hope that the level design does get to play around with how shifting the oldest house is. Because, like, in Control, most of the time you're just going into an area that needs to, like, it has already been shifted and you are trying to get it back to normal. And, like, very rarely do any of these rooms actually, like, just spontaneously do a weird thing that you have to then try and navigate your way through and improvise. Like, that hasn't really happened. But
What a game.
yeah, truly love it.
Jesse Faden's a queen.
This is true.
We stand.
I thought before playing this game, I thought I was gonna like Dr. Darling. I am suspect of him.
Well, that's fair.
I don't know if he has everyone's best interests at heart.
Yeah, it definitely has its own interests.
Yes.
Yeah, he definitely has interests.
Yeah.
It's just-
They're
That's what-
just
and they're
maybe
what
not.
lead him.
Yeah, they're just maybe not entirely great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, there's
You know-
a reason he's nowhere to be found.
True. I'm currently in the part of the game where I'm trying to find him. I think.
Good luck.
Yeah.
It's just- you know, you talking about the fire break. I know this is a side that it's not going to connect to Control, but I read a description and it makes sense. Fire break is going to be extraction shooter type thing in the building. That makes sense to me. Did you either of you read the gameplay description of what that Elden Ring game is going to be?
Yes.
It does not seem like it's going to be a fun video game. It is basically going to be Helldivers, but Elden Ring and arcadey.
I'm
Like
sold.
hyper arcadey. So like, but also Helldivers mixed with Fortnite. So imagine you get dropped into a random Limgrave map and you're surrounded by a storm circle and there's a boss and you fight enemies to then fight the boss and the storm circle closes like a Fortnite round
Yeah.
until it's the third day, which is you and the final boss of the run. Like it seems like very Helldivers mixed with Fortnite, and you don't spec out your character. You pick like a hero. I don't even know what you would describe it. It is like a hero thing, like
Yeah. With set
with
stuff.
set stats and everything. I don't know. I'm really going to have to wait to see if I want to spend money on that to play it.
Yeah, I was over the moon watching that announcement trailer, and then everything that I've read from it since has been like taking away from that.
Yeah, it's
excitement.
like this does not seem like even a FromSoft video
Right.
game.
Yeah.
It's which everyone always said that they wanted Elden Ring to be way more than just they wanted it to be like a name. And so like
Yeah.
let them experiment, but good lord, I don't know if I want this. You talking about the Firebreak made me think of like the
Yeah, that'll be one that I think it'll be hard to tell without getting hands on the
Yeah.
actual gameplay.
Well, there's
and there is going to be a beta thing where
yeah,
you can
like
interact
February, I think, right?
with it. Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
But even rewatch the trailer, it looks like really arcadey in the movements. Like which I mean if you're giving me like Devil May
Now,
Cry,
what if you just think about it as like a new Gauntlet?
that would be cool, but it's not top down. Like I would love a new Gauntlet. Give me that.
I don't think I've ever heard of that series before or game.
It was an
gonna go-
arcade game, and then
gonna
there was
go
Gauntlet Legends on the
Desync.
64.
I'm gonna desync, as the kids say.
And then there was Gauntlet
You're gonna-
Dark Legacy in the
that
next
game was-
generation.
that game was
I don't
pretty
think I
good.
ever
You're gonna
played it.
de-res, as the cool kids would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cool kids from that live in the grid and
Yeah.
Tron.
There should be like a Lost Boys style group in the grid.
Don't get me. The
How
amount
would
of
they
stories,
get in?
The amount of stories that
that's
we
not
could
my
tell.
problem to figure
The
out.
amount of stories we could tell in the Tron universe. I'm just
There's
saying.
at least two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe even
and
more.
None of ours would probably have Jared Leto in them.
And would the Lost
This
Boys
is true.
be in the original grid or in the new grid that Jeff Bridges made in
Yeah.
the sequel?
But it did connect to the internet at the end. He did connect it. That was part of.
Did it?
I'm pretty sure.
No, I thought he just like went to the. He was trying to connect it to the real world.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Man,
The grid in the first one, I think, was just the internet, or at
Yeah.
least an intranet.
Yeah.
it was the internet.
Yeah.
Ready? I'm ready for that new Tron game from
Yeah.
Bithell Games.
Biffle.
It's a
What a
it's
name.
a follow up to the story game, which
Yeah.
was a good game.
Yep.
Great
Remember
story.
you liking it. But yeah, Control. Wonderful game. Love it. It has conceptually terrified me in certain spots and made me giggle like a bandit at
What's
other
your least
spots.
favorite hiss enemy?
The ones that float around and dodge your shots but the only way to hit them is to just keep shooting.
He's got it. That game is all about keeping moving and keeping
Yes,
shooting.
which I do enjoy.
Can be
It's
frustrating.
it's very kinetic.
Yes, and I do love that. I haven't used the shield ability much,
Oh,
but
that's where you're messing up, maybe.
well, I'm not. The thing is, I'm not getting frustrated though. Like I don't feel like I'm getting a lesser experience out of just not utilizing it as much as I utilize the throw thing and my
Yeah,
dashes.
throw is so important.
Yeah. I would
chuck
say it's
stuff.
more important.
Chuck
than,
the enemies that you chuck stuff at.
Yeah,
Man.
That's great.
I
Can't
just
believe-
got that upgrade.
Can't believe that Rob, on another podcast that Seth and I listened to, finished that game without like 2 or 3 of the
That's
powers.
crazy.
Because there are multiple powers that are just skippable.
Yeah.
You cannot get them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like I love
Until
it.
you
I
hear
love
him
it.
talk about
conceptually.
until you hear
Yeah.
him talk about how hard the game is
play through
and how
it.
limited it is, and then they realize that he was playing without multiple powers.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But I
Couldn't
think
be
it
me.
is a testament to the game that it could be completed, not
Yeah,
easily,
yeah,
but
sure,
it
sure.
could be completed.
It's more like
without.
it's an any percent run rather
Yeah.
than a 100%
Yeah.
run.
Exactly. But yeah, aside from Control, I, for context, over this weekend on Saturday, I went to Orlando, hung out with a few different sets of friends, and at one of their houses, I started Baldur's Gate 3, and it was a really fun time. I played it for about an hour, made a whole character that took me way too long, and then actually played the game proper for an hour. Got through like the first chapter and a half. And it was a really good time. It just also made me really miss playing D&D.
Yeah.
Which,
It's crazy how playing D&D will make you miss playing D&D.
Yeah, this is true. With that said, I am very interested in like the characters in the story that is set up for that opening of Baldur's Gate 3. So I would like to see that through. And one of the first major fights at the end of the first chapter, there's this like demon dude thing, and he has a huge flaming greatsword, and you can take it from him. Like you can either kill him and steal it, or get him to drop it. And I did that.
Kick him in the nads and he goes, oh!
He goes, youch! Yeah. And he drops the sword and it does the Berserk 2016 clang. Yeah. But I managed to get his sword, so I killed him with it.
Did you kill him? You killed
Yes,
him with
of course,
his
of
sword?
course.
Was there a
I
a unique animation for it?
No, which is unfortunate. But
Come on, Larian, what are you doing?
yeah, for real. But I specifically did make my character so that I could get a great sword. I just didn't know that it was going to happen so early,
Nice.
you know? So that was a really nice surprise.
It's destiny.
Yeah, truly. I also found out that day that I have not been syncing my saves for any of my games to the PSN cloud. So I was just going to be playing more of Elden Ring with one of my friends, and then we signed into my account and tried syncing my last save. And the last save was from 2022, which is not viable.
Yeah, not recent.
Yeah, so I gotta. Next time I get the free chance, look into syncing that
update
stuff.
those, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's most of what I've been doing, and I've been having a blast.
Good. Our Game of the Year episode will be
Soon.
soon. It'll be after the next 2 weeks, because next week is Christmas and the week after is New Year's.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be out of town that week of New Year's.
So that'll give us time to wrap some things up. I'll be able to wrap up Indy. Be able to formulate how the Mega Mind will
Yes.
convene
That's the real challenge.
to
We'll convene at
Bring
the
about-
oldest house.
bring about the Game of the Year.
We're the board. That's what the
board?
the board from Control. That is the Unimind for this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
For
We have
certain.
to speak in that weird language.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. But with that, we appreciate you as always. Let's get these boys home. It's late. And we will talk at you later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
See ya.